No, so we actually moved. Before we get started, we put on the website and the consultation form, but we record training sessions, such as consultations.
That's fine.
This here is just a wireless mic. If you pinch like this, opens up a clip. Most people just put it like on the inner of the collar, or you can put on your tassel. So when I've been doing dog training for 15 years.
Yeah.
When I expanded to brick and mortar September of 2019, I was on Diversity and Western by the AMC. The AMC parking lot was right across from us.
Okay.
So if you drive by there and you look across from the parking lot, if this is the parking lot and you look like this, you'll see a garage that says Canine Perspective in graffiti. That was my old building.
Okay.
And then we bought a building west of the West Loop. We're on Sacramento and Lake now.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're southwest. But I meet here to train with clients.
Yeah.
If you don't know, this is the busiest park in Chicago.
Yes.
I had a client, she was a judge, and her daughter did studies with all the city parks to see like how much they were being utilized for like funding and like all that kind of stuff. And then we did training here, and she's like, "Oh, this is the busiest park in Chicago, like statistically speaking."
Okay.
So we started doing training here because of COVID.
Yeah.
Because I used to do home to home where I traveled to everybody.
Oh, wow.
But
that
then
gets
when
to
COVID
be a lot.
happened, everybody was like, don't come into my home.
Yeah.
So I had to find like a place where we could, at the time, social distance and all that stuff, but still do training.
Yeah.
So then we started doing it here. It became very popular, and I just have stuck with it since.
Nice.
So,
Okay. Very cool.
So Miss Rue here, Reactivity, is that correct?
Yes. So, and Rue has been with another dog training facility as well. Yeah, Downtown Dogs.
Is that Ari?
Yes, it's Ari. Come here, Rue. Sit. Yeah, working with Ari. So, I mean, great. It's been a lot of obedience training. We still occasionally will go. She's done a board and train there. That was in the year of 2022. I rescued her in February of 2022.
Okay.
And then I put her through Ari's program around like May, I think. And we will occasionally attend group classes. And they've been great for obedience training. I've just seen your content. My coworker Riley works with you and Willow. So I've just been like curious, like, oh, maybe curious to see like if there's a different, approach or if there's other, enrichment she can go through. But yeah, for reactivity, she, when I first got her, I know there's like the honeymoon stage with rescue dogs sometimes, but
4 weeks.
yeah, she was, fine around other dogs. If we were walking, can sniff. It wasn't until this was maybe after a couple weeks of having her, I had her at a friend's house, and her dog and Rue got in a bit of a fight. So. Essentially, it was the dogs were eating their own little like rawhide treats. Rue, sit. And Rue finished her. She went over to the Beagle. The Beagle was resource guarding, and it broke out into a fight. And then ever since then, it just seemed like there was more reactivity around other dogs. And partially, this was like March of 2022.
So like, a month after you got her.
Yeah, like a month after I got her. Yeah, gotcha. And then it was like then after that, like everywhere we walked around neighborhood, we were living like in pretty much South Loop. I just started noticing more like reactivity, and then of course that fed into like my own anxiety of like, oh shoot, now she's the first dog I've owned personally and rescued outside of like a family dog growing up. Rue, come here. Is that okay? Or would you rather? Okay.
No, she's good.
And so obviously I didn't know what I was doing. Sit. Didn't know what I was doing. That's when I started doing research around facilities. I saw yours and then others around Chicago, and I ended up picking Ari's because it was close where we were at South Loop.
Yep.
Sit. I think she can tell for some reason I'm feeling a little anxious. Sit.
And why would you be feeling anxious?
I don't know. Honestly. So yeah, I didn't really know what I was doing. Reached out to Ari. She went through facility and we went through obedience training. And, that's all been great. They were like, just pretty much like, just don't put her around dogs. It's just been like avoidance and teaching her to control impulses. Sit.
May I?
Yeah.
I'll take your leash, sure.
Go on.
So she's getting anxious.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah.
Because
So-
for some reason, my heart rate's going up. I don't know why.
No worries. Yeah. I mean, if that's the case, in terms of her responsiveness, then she's very tuned into you.
Yeah.
So there's a difference between obedience and behavior.
Yeah.
Obedience is a skill set,
Yeah.
right? It's like sit, put your butt down,
Yep.
down, lay down,
Yep.
come, get
She's
over
got
here.
that. Yep.
It's like right now, she's anxious.
Yes.
For whatever reason.
Mhm.
It could be tied to you. It could be because this is your first time here, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. It could be because of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's also a busy corner, right? There's a
Yeah.
lot of variables. Why she's anxious doesn't really matter. We just know she's anxious, right?
Mhm.
And you told her to sit about 2 to 3 times.
Yeah.
Right? There we go. Sit and the anxiety aren't related,
Yeah.
right? So it's really like, I need you to settle,
Yeah.
right? And relax.
Mhm.
So words kind of go out the window there.
Yeah.
And like your prong collar here, like it's a great tool. So all I did right now is like lightly pull up until she gave me the sitting position.
Yeah.
I don't care that she sits.
Yeah.
I care that she what?
That she calms down.
Relaxes.
Right.
Exactly. Right. So verbal cues actually create more energy. Right. Sit. No. Roo. Sit.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
You hear it.
Right.
And that feeds into her anxiety.
Right.
So then if I'm trying to create calmness, I have to tell her to relax calmly and then give that calm energy. Does that make sense? So that's the difference between obedience and behavior. There
Yeah.
are overlaps in
Yeah.
certain respects, right? But like right now, I just took her, lightly pulled up. She knows the communication of the prong collar. I gave her no verbal instruction.
Right.
And then she lay down next to me, right?
Yeah.
Now, the reason she propped back up is because she's still stuck in it. Yeah, you can see the shaking.
Yeah.
You can see that, right?
Yeah.
And in this, we
You're
don't
not
want to
getting taken
pet,
away.
we don't want to console, we
Right.
don't want to look soft,
Right.
because that would reinforce you have to feel anxious,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if she's feeling weak right now, we don't want to give weak energy back. We
Right.
want to give neutral, assertive energy. So she's like, okay, I feel very uncomfortable right now,
Yeah.
but I find security in that you feel confident.
Right.
Does that make sense?
It does,
So that's
yeah.
like the deeper kind of underlying stuff.
Right.
Most training is just flat out obedience.
Right.
They might talk a little about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I always tell everybody, even when the happy-go-lucky dogs,
Right.
behavior at some point is going to come into the conversation.
Right.
You know, so here, right? So that dog moves. She gets
She gets
a
worked
tiny
up.
bit. Yep.
Yeah. When dogs are running off leash, that's when she can get worked up.
Yep. We can hear the sound, right? But immediately when she broke, I just lightly pulled up, and it's just keeping her as neutral as possible.
Yeah.
With just little feedback. Okay. So that's kind of one of the big differences about me is that when I came into dog training, I came in from a behavioral perspective.
Yeah.
Whereas most people come into it from an obedience perspective.
Totally.
You know, so like early on, you know, I would get dogs that would like bite people or attack other dogs. And they're like, oh, I did training, Jesse. Like, my dog already knows how to sit. And I would be like, well, what does sit have to do with wanting to bite the person?
Yeah.
They're completely non-related. They're like, well,
Right.
if the dog is sitting, they can't bite the person. But I'm like, if they want to bite the person enough,
Yeah.
then sit means nothing. And then we get the behavior anyways.
Yeah, and that's kind of like what we were like taught with the obedience training is just keeping her in a command and staying in the command to avoid the impulse of biting. But yeah, it's mainly just been reactivity towards other dogs. Just like people, it just depends on the breed. There's also been times where I've had a dog walker walk her. I'm not present, but like a Shih Tzu like ran up to her off leash, sniffed her, nothing happened. Sometimes she sees a Saint Bernard or German Shepherd, she gets really, or like this situation gets really worked up. And then there would be situations with my dad. So we would, they're unfortunately not in the Midwest anymore, but when we would go visit them in Michigan, she loved my parents. But for some reason at nighttime, if we were sitting in the living room, if my dad got up, left, and then came back into the living room, she would get like essentially really protective of like my mom and I.
Oh, okay.
And that's just like the thing. She's just been such a curious dog, a very interesting background. And that's kind of what I'm more trying to like understand is like the behavior of everything. So that's like kind of what prompted the
Is
reach
that
out.
problem still happening?
It's tough because my parents aren't
they
in
moved
town
over,
anymore,
yeah.
but she will like occasionally, my boyfriend and I live together.
Mhm.
Every now and again she would get like that. It's happening less, but for some reason it was always my dad. She would have one out for it. It would usually always be at nighttime.
Mm.
Anytime if it was just my dad and her, she loved him to death. If my like mom came home or like I was like there, that's when she would start to get a little more like guarded. And
Okay.
yeah, it's just like, okay, what's
Does
causing
your dad, does he have a big energy?
that? He can, yeah.
Okay.
He can be very animated.
When walking into the room ever, was he ever animated or like kind of like, hey, like,
Yeah, so the first thing that happened was she was actually laying on the couch with my dad. We were all watching a movie, and she fell asleep on my dad's lap. And my dad, he like made some animated joke and woke her up. And I always told my parents, like, don't put your face by hers. We're still getting to know the dog. But my dad went to coddle her, and she woke him from sleep, and she went and nipped him on the nose.
Yeah.
And then it was like, ever since then, then it was like this continuation.
So,
And when it happens, it's like she can't control the impulse. But as soon as she does it, she immediately feels guilty and knows she did something wrong.
so that's interesting because now we have a pattern. Do you know what the pattern is?
Something getting close to the face.
Something happening,
Yeah.
causing a reaction, or like there, like there was the fight over the resource guarding.
Yeah.
Right, and then afterwards, you're like, then she seems to become reactive and like increasingly reactive. Right?
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, and then this time, she's laying on my dad's lap. He goes to put his face in her face, startles her, and then after that, it seems like there was a
Right.
thing, right?
Yeah.
So it kind of, and this is not a guarantee,
Totally.
right? But right away, my brain goes, oh, yeah, makes sense, right? Pattern. So something that I see very commonly is like dogs have 3 pivotal psychological shifts in their lifetime.
Yeah.
6 months, a year, and 2 years.
Yeah.
Very common do I hear Jessie, my 6-month-old puppy at the dog park, got overcorrected, and ever since has been antisocial. Or I had one dog, it was like a year-old, a shelf with pots and pans collapsed. And since that day, that dog was just crazy, anxious, and neurotic.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's these catalysts or these like things that happen around these pivotal
Stages.
life points.
Yeah.
That and then all of a sudden we have a behavioral problem. It can also happen outside of that. I had one client, the dog was like a 4 to 5 year old golden doodle, completely friendly, completely social, was walking her dog down the street. Off-leash dog attacked her dog, okay? And like a switch the next day, dog reactive,
Yeah.
right? So then we did the training, we stopped the dog reactivity, but, and what happened in your case, by the way, is the same thing, is it's created distrust, right? That's what's causing the reactivity.
Okay.
It's like we had this negative interaction, and it's funny because dogs don't generalize well with certain things, but behaviorally, they will generalize. So for the golden doodle, attacked, next day, everybody's an enemy.
True.
Every dog. Right.
There was another instance where my parents were watching her. This is, I think, a year ago. They were watching her while I was out of town at their house in Michigan. My mom and Rue got approached by 2 off-leash golden doodles. Even after my mom tried to tell the lady, like, no, stop, like, don't approach. And she's like, no, the dogs are friendly. They ran up to Rue, created a whole, like, my poor mom got, like, dragged down the driveway. It was a messy situation.
Yeah.
Now every single golden doodle she sees, it spikes up.
Yes, because so if we look at the world the way a dog does, right? So let's look around here. You see that young lady sitting on the bench there?
Yeah.
Do you care
What?
about her sitting there?
No.
Do you see that little kid walking over there, waving his arms?
Yeah.
Do you care?
No.
Right.
Right.
However, for a dog like her goes out and goes threat, threat, threat. You see that? So, and if that comes closer, or if she feels in any way you have interest in me, we get defensive behavior, right? So in the, what's the saying, dog eat dog?
Yeah.
Right? Dogs are primal,
Right.
right? So for her, if a dog is charged by an off-leash dog, it is a fraction of a second to determine, are you friend or foe?
Right.
Most dogs will lean towards foe.
Yeah.
Because it's literally life or death here.
Yeah.
Right? They don't understand if it's a dopey, friendly dog running over it. They're just like,
Exactly.
I have a fraction of a second to determine what's going on here.
Yeah.
I'm just going to assume threat because that's the safest option here. And then that can unfortunately lead to like, leash reactivity, or now it's like prevalent, where it's like now
Right.
it's like every dog I see is going to be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that's the distrust factor.
Mm-hmm.
So with your training that you've done,
Mm-hmm.
I know Ari by name just because I'm
Mm-hmm.
a trainer
Mm-hmm.
and I know
Yeah.
of them. I don't know them personally. Did you only do prong, or have you done remote collar at all?
We've done remote collar too.
Okay.
Remote collar with long leash. I didn't bring it today, but yeah, we'll
Is she on the
do.
circle collar?
It's
or remote?
it is, yeah, it's, what is the name of it? I should have brought it. Educator, I think is what it is. So she's on that. So if we do like more long line leashing or working more distance recall, we'll use that
Okay.
as well.
So the first thing that we do here is we have to rein the brain in. So
Yeah.
you see this here, right?
Yeah.
We have
Shaking
to rein
like a
that
leaf.
in.
I
Yes.
know.
So the other thing is here we have to think that she's already on threshold,
Mm-hmm.
right? She's already stressed out. So then when you add in another thing like the presence of a dog,
Yeah.
that pushes her over threshold.
Yeah.
And then that's where we get the explosions and stuff
Right.
like that. Okay. So with the remote collar, the first thing that I always tackle is heel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Most people think when we do behavior work, they're always like, oh, you're going to go to the park, we're going to find dogs, and we're just going to zap them.
Yeah.
Every time they're bad. I go, that's an approach, but it's not the first approach.
Mm-hmm.
First approach is we have to teach an appropriate heel.
Yeah.
Okay? So my definition heel is very strict. If I
Mhm.
take 5 steps, the dog takes 5 steps. If I
Yes.
take 3 steps, they take 3 steps.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a 15-minute walk at a slow pace, we're walking 15 minutes at a slow pace. I want a slack leash like this. Dog is right next to me. Okay,
Mhm.
that is heel to me.
Yeah.
This is not heel to me.
Right.
Okay, walking like this is tension. This
Yeah.
creates more
Yep.
tension, which also feeds into the reactivity.
Mhm.
Okay, the dog also has to learn how the collar turns on and how it turns off.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that is crucial to any behavior work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because so I've trained many dogs from other trainers. In my opinion, they've conditioned the collar correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so for an example, I had one client a couple years ago. Their dog showed up like this with the e-collar on and salivating.
Mm.
They had already done a 2-week board and train, and it had already been a year from the 2-week board and train. The dog was still being reactive, and also the dog was extraordinarily anxious. Okay, so I see the dog. I'm like, wow, that looks terrible.
Yeah.
And they go, yeah, every time you put the collar on, the e-collar, this is what the dog does.
It's associated.
And then I
to it.
go, the dog wasn't conditioned correctly.
Okay.
And they go, what do you mean? I'm like, because the dog, I can tell you right now, the dog does not understand the collar. And that's why the dog is so anxious, because it's seemingly random. Okay.
Yeah.
So they move forward with training. We meet here. The first class, we recondition the heel. Okay. And I told them, you're going to take 2 weeks to practice this exercise, and then we'll have class 2.
Yeah.
They showed up to class 2. Dog was as calm as could be.
Okay.
And they go, Jesse, in the entire year since completing this board and train, our dog has always been anxious with the collar. Now the dog is calm. I go, yes. The dog had had plenty of exposure, but just not understanding.
Yeah.
Once the dog understood, oh, the choices that I make, certain things that I do will turn it on, but then also certain things that I don't do and or choose to stop doing
Yeah.
will turn it off.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool, I understand. And then the dog was able to relax. So in the beginning, it's not uncommon that we might see this, right? But that's why we do heel, because 3 times a day, 7 days a week, most people walk their dogs.
Yeah.
So that's 3 times 7 days a week,
Yep.
we're practicing heel. And that's what gets the dog over the stress of the collar,
Yeah.
right? But only if they understand how it's operating. So then once the dog goes, okay, I know how this works, when we start to apply it to behavior, the dog goes, oh, okay, you don't want me to be reactive. And if I'm reactive, now there's a consequence. And now the dog has to do math.
Yeah.
What's more stressful, the consequence of this thing that'll turn on and or the presence of this dog?
Yeah.
Right? But then if she goes, okay, I'm going to choose not to be reactive, nothing happens with the dog,
Right.
nothing happens on the collar, and the dog goes, oh, I don't need to perceive threat anymore.
Yeah.
So the way we create trust again is we do have to correct the behavior to tell her that's not acceptable anymore.
Right.
You have to find another way of handling the stress,
Mm-hmm.
which in the beginning is typically avoidance. So like, let's say she sees a dog, she'd typically be reactive. We've corrected it. Next time she sees a dog, I'm not going to be reactive, and instead I'm going to look the opposite way and pretend the dog's not there.
Yeah.
Right? That's the initial step.
Mm-hmm.
But then she sees a dog 100 times, and she's like, you know, I've done avoidance 100 times. Nothing has happened.
Yeah.
What happens if I just keep looking, but I don't avoid and don't become reactive, and then just let the dog pass? Nothing happens. You know, oh, I don't have to perceive threat anymore. And that's how they can start to rain down those emotions.
Yeah.
Okay. But we have to have the collar conditioned correctly.
Right.
I don't know. My assumption always is when a dog comes to me, the collar is probably conditioned incorrectly. And regardless, like, I have to redo things to make sure the dog understands the collar the way I need them to, if that makes sense. Because people always come to me where they go, oh, the dog's already trained, right? I got to fix these problems. I go, right, but I don't know how the dog was trained.
Right. Yeah, it's different.
It's completely different because everybody trains differently. There's a dog training joke where they go, if you put 100 dog trainers in the room, the only thing they'll agree on is that the other trainer is wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but that's the first thing.
Sure.
Okay. And then everything else after that just comes down to like how much you're trying to actually accomplish, right? Now, is a goal of yours trying to socialize her again?
I'm curious if it's possible. And that's kind of like what the second opinion, like we've already overcome so much together since I rescued her, from being able to play again and just not having fear of living in the city. And that's what I'm curious is it possible for a dog like her to ever be socialized again?
There will be limitations though.
Right.
Right? Would she be a dog park dog? Probably not.
No.
And I don't suggest dog parks anyways, right?
Right.
Would she be a random, like sniff a random dog kind of dog?
Probably not.
But if it's like, oh, can we introduce Willow and Root together? Yeah. And that would be like a great, because Riley has control over Willow.
Right.
You also have control over Root.
Right.
So that makes that even more, the likelihood of success even greater.
Yeah.
Right? But it could also be like, oh, my parents have a dog, or my friend has a dog, my neighbor has a dog, right? And it's a good energy that I think would do well with Rue, right?
Right.
That's reasonable, even if they're not trained, because we still have control over both dogs, one more than the other, right? And there's a whole process that I do. It's not like, let's bring the dogs and throw them in a group with each other.
No, yeah.
I show you how to actually facilitate trust and build a relationship with Rue and the other dog.
Yeah.
Right? And then you would repeat that exercise.
Yes.
You know?
And that's what's hard is, like Riley would be great. I do have a friend in mind who I think would be a good dog to like slowly introduce Rue to. That's a hard thing in the city, is like one, a safe environment, two, the consistency of meeting that dog over and over again.
Yes. And it doesn't have to be, every day. It doesn't have to be, 5 times a week.
Sure.
Even once every 2 weeks or once a month. Dogs, I think the memory is tied to scent. Right? Like even if, like, let's say it was Willow and you met each other like once a month, you would still facilitate a relationship between them.
Okay.
It would just be slower.
Right.
Right? So think of it with humans, right? You have a boyfriend. I'm sure you do a lot of activities with each other. Right? And the more activities and the more time you spend with each other, the stronger that relationship is getting.
Totally.
This is why long distance relationships are put under strain.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's hard, because physical touch and contact, right? Affection is all tied to facilitating that relationship.
Yeah.
So same thing for dogs. If she met Willow twice a week, it'd be a faster turnaround, And is it possible that she just doesn't vibe with Willow or doesn't vibe with a certain dog?
Totally.
100%.
Yeah.
I don't vibe with everybody. Not everybody vibes with me. It's completely normal.
Yeah.
Right? But then, like, let's say you introduced her to a really big energy dog and it went south. I would tell you, makes sense.
Yeah.
And I go, try to find a chill dog.
Yeah.
And then you find a chill dog. And you're like, hey, it went better. I go, there you go. Right? She might just be a dog that leans more towards calmer dogs.
Yeah.
You see that? So like at my facility, when we pair dogs together, if we have a dog that plays like a gladiator, we pair that dog with that plays like a gladiator.
Yeah.
We don't pair that dog with the dog that's like very like reserved and like just likes to chill out. You know what I mean? It would be a mismatch. And that's where it would go south. Right? So the more you understand dog behavior, that's where your options open up, right? And realistically speaking, like it's like, I don't care about the dog park, I don't care about random dogs, but friends' dogs, family dogs, dogs that you would go, we would see each other again, is completely realistic.
Yeah.
Okay. I've had plenty of dog that was completely antisocial to the owner, have 2 to 3 dog friends. Okay. And I've also had cases where it's like, Jesse, we've tried 100 times, our dog just doesn't like other dogs. It happens.
Yeah.
In your case, I think you would have the ability to have her make friends because in the very beginning, it was there.
Yeah.
If you would have told me since the beginning when I tried to socialize her, it would always just go south, then I would say most likely she's a dog that just doesn't like dogs.
And I know, what the other trained told me too, like it happens all the time when people rescue dogs. Rescue facilities say like, oh, they're great with other dogs, but they don't really know for sure, right? Sometimes these dogs are only in their facility for a short amount of time.
Well, the other thing is it's a community setting.
Yes.
Right? She's there with 20 other dogs.
Yeah.
Right? So she's flooded.
Yeah.
But once she's with you, you are now a unit. You are now a family. And you also give her something to protect.
Yeah.
You
That's
said so
interesting.
that's the
Yeah.
dynamic that changes, you know, because at the rescue it's 20 different people,
Yeah.
30 different people,
Yeah.
right? At different shifts, different times.
That makes sense.
Taking out so the dog never gets to attach to anything.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, because I would see video of like her off leash with another off leash healer, and they were just socializing,
Chilling,
vibing around,
yeah.
chilling.
Mhm.
Yeah, and so I'm like, is it possible? But also, that makes sense with the family unit thing.
Yeah. And like we've even had dogs like with owners that are not social, but they come to daycare and they're social.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, we're a community setting. We're away from the owner.
Mm-hmm.
So now the dog's like, okay, I have nothing to attach to, nothing to protect.
Yeah.
Right? I can just be loose.
Yeah.
And then they become playful. You know?
Interesting.
I've
Yeah.
also seen the opposite where a dog was playful with the owner, but then come to us and is antisocial. And I tell them like it's possible because there's rules and there's boundaries here that they just take more time to open up, you know, and then usually I would say 95% of the time the dog will open up. They just have to open up in our setting.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like if you ever changed schools growing up,
Yeah, right.
Like especially if you've moved and you're completely out of your element, you're not just like, hey everybody, right? Like you're usually reserved, and then you make a friend here and a friend here, and then you find your little clique, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like you have your group. It takes time. Same thing for the dog. Okay. Question on any of that stuff?
No, that all tracks.
Okay. Yeah. You know, again, obedience is very different from
Right.
behavior.
Yeah.
Behavior is very different from obedience. It's understanding social things, you know. That's why my business name, Canine Perspective, is one of the things is to teach people like how to see the world as the dog sees the world.
Totally.
You know, the number of clients that I get that like are frustrated with their dog, like I want to get rid of this dog. I hate this dog, right? I got this dog to like make my life better, but my dog's like an asshole.
Yeah.
And then once I educate them, and they're like, "Oh, my dog's not an asshole. My dog
Yeah.
was just stressed and scared, and that's why they're being reactive."
Yeah.
But if you don't know that and you don't understand that, it just looks
Exactly.
like. And then the repercussion is I can't enjoy my walks. Now I have anxiety when I walk my dog because
Yes.
I don't know when I'm going to see a trigger.
Right.
I can't stop it. Now my life's just going, whoop, right?
Yeah.
It's
It's exactly what happened before
Yeah.
obedience training.
I see it all the time. All the time. So your goals obviously would be kind of curbing the behavior, so the reactivity to the
Family member.
with family members and stuff like that. One, I believe you have a nervous dog. Okay.
Yes, very much.
So fear, anxiety, nervousness look very similar, but they have key defining traits. Fear tends to not let it go. So like, let's say she was scared of your dad. Your dad walks into the room. She would start growling and barking, and it would just like never stop. You put her in a different room, she'll continue the behavior. Like it does not stop because they just perceive threat.
Right.
Okay? Anxious energy wants to move. It cannot relax. Right? So she's done it a little bit. Where she got up, like I'd pull up, she'd sit back down, she'd get up. So this is low level anxiety in terms of what she's doing. This here, the expression of it is very obvious. But the fact that she's not just continuously doing this is what makes me scale it down lower.
Yeah.
Okay, because I get dogs that are just nonstop trying to get up. Okay. So anxiety wants to move.
Yeah.
Nervousness will settle, but when there's a trigger, it'll react. So when I asked about your dad being bigger energy,
Yeah.
right? Because I'm already kind of getting a feel for the dog. I'm like, all right, her reacting to your dad, there's something had to trigger that.
Yeah.
Which led to the question of big energy. And
Yeah.
when you're like, yeah, my dad is animated and this and that, and then we had the situation of like she was napping on his leg, and then the animation, and then this, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, yeah,
That checks out.
That's all typical nervous dog.
Yeah, and just does the dog just like hold on to that? Because as I said, what was interesting, what I was like, this is what I want to understand more is, again, daytime, very approachable with my dad, love my dad, no aggression or reactivity towards him. It would always be then just at nighttime when he would like walk into a room, even if he wasn't being big energy in that moment. But yeah, she would give him like that side eye, and every now and again would try to, go after him.
Yeah.
Unless again, my remediation was like, okay, I'm going to put her in the climb and teach her to try and stay in the climb.
So like right there when you said the side eye, right?
Yeah.
So she does the side eye. Your dad then does what?
That's a good question. I think he would just try to talk to her in a calm voice.
Yes, the talking. So I like that it was calm voice, okay? But the talking puts social pressure. And she's already going, I'm sus of you right now.
Yeah.
You see that?
Yeah, totally.
So that's the so it's like math. Like in
Right.
my brain, when you tell me these things, it adds up, and I go, okay, that's why that happened.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have a client that's starting Monday.
Mm-hmm.
The dog's bitten the wife a couple of times.
Okay.
The previous trainers referred them to me,
Mm-hmm.
and from the previous trainer's description was unpredictable.
Mm.
Okay. So as soon as I hear unpredictable, I go, they don't know what they're talking about. I've never seen a dog do something unpredictably.
Mm.
Dogs are perfectly predictable. They don't do things for no reason,
Mm-hmm.
like a human.
Mm-hmm.
A human could be walking and just go boom, for no reason,
Mm-hmm.
right? Dogs don't do that. Dogs are driven by instinct,
Mm-hmm.
and dogs are reactive. They're not proactive. So she doesn't sit there going, can't wait for your dad to come in so I can
Yeah.
bark at him. She doesn't do that.
Right.
She's going, I'm giving you a side eye. That's the warning.
Mm-hmm.
That's the I'm uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
You're putting social interaction, social pressure on me by talking to me. That adds up. I don't like it. Now I'm going to tell you to back off.
Mm-hmm.
You see that?
Yeah.
That's not unpredictable. There's a pattern there.
Mm-hmm.
So for this particular dog, I told him that exactly actually what you said. I said the warning could be something as subtle as a side eye, right? And then he looks at me and he like slaps his leg and he's like, Jesse, you're completely right. Because when the dog bit my wife, he's like, I saw it coming, but
Yeah.
it didn't click, right? Until the dog snapped at my wife, you know? And it was seemingly unpredictable. But when I pointed out, like, it could be as subtle as this, it could be as subtle as this,
Yeah.
right? You just don't see it
Yeah.
at the time, and you get caught
Exactly.
off guard, and that's what the unpredictability
Exactly.
comes
And that's
from.
definitely exactly what I all want to understand is like her certain behavior, like traits in the moment, like just being able to read that better, understand that, or, you know, at times, like if we walk past another dog, it's like, I mean, is she
Yes.
responding more curiously now, or is she still responding with like, oh, like get away from me? It's, you know,
Yes, yes.
there's certain things like I've like done my own research of like, okay, with, you know, dog's body language with like the hair on the back or the tail, which she doesn't have one.
So one thing I would
things to
advise
read into.
is, unfortunately, your time of learning her body language is limited to when you're in the moment,
Yeah.
right? So what I always tell my clients is the way I learned how to read dog body language was watching Cesar Milan, the
Yeah.
dog whisperer, seasons 1 through 5, the original OG dog whisperer. Okay, that's actually how I learned to read dog body language. I
Okay.
watched his first 5 seasons 3 times in a row, and I would rewind and rewatch, rewind and rewatch. Right, when he would do stuff, rewind and rewatch,
Yeah.
and then I would go and replicate it, screw up, come back, rewind, rewatch, do it again. Okay, because it gives you, and he explains things very well. He's like
Yeah.
98% on it when
Yeah.
he's explaining behavior. So I always recommend that to clients because it gives
Okay.
you the ability to expose yourself, not just like, because right now you'd only learn her,
Yeah.
right? But what about like fearful energy or aggressive energy or anxious energy, right? De-escalating energy, recognizing the subtle cues, right? You're only going to have so much window with your own dog.
Right.
The way you actually learn more is through exposure.
Yeah.
You know, so like when I first started learning how to read dog behavior and stuff, I did volunteer work at an animal shelter, and I would go there for 4 to 6 hours a day, Monday through Friday. Okay, and I did that for months when I was watching Cesar, right? Because I wanted to be in this field.
Yeah.
So I don't expect you to do that. But an easy way is like, oh, I'll just watch, 30 minutes of Cesar,
Okay.
and then kind of get into that. And then if I see something and I didn't catch it, well, now I can rewind it and then watch it, rewind and watch it, go, oh,
Yeah.
there's the subtle cue. 'Cause
Totally.
if that dog lifts its lip, she would also lift her lip. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's nice because it gives you universal dog behavior that you can learn to read
Yeah.
and recognize
Okay.
body language that you could then apply to her.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
I, of
helpful.
course, will help you. I can help you with her.
Yeah.
Understanding her better and stuff,
Yeah.
right? But increasing your vocabulary is by going out and actually watching like something
Tons
like
of
that.
content. Okay, yeah.
And
I will
he's-
do that.
He's very good about explaining
Yeah.
dog behavior. I think the old school stuff is on Disney Plus.
Okay.
If you have that.
Yes. I have watched I haven't watched seasons 1 through 5, but with like getting her, that's like, okay, there's more I need to understand with behavior. I would watch like videos of some of Cesar Milan's. Jeff Beckman is another one
know
who's
him,
out of
yeah.
Pasadena. So I was like, okay, they have a different approach with the dog. It's not just obedience training, it's more behavior based, but how they were introducing dogs to like other dogs in a safe
Is he the guy with the
environment. He has a Doberman, yeah. But it was like, I don't have access, or I thought I didn't have access in Chicago to maybe a way we can slowly introduce her to that in a safe environment and which she overcome.
Yeah. So one thing I'll note is like I can also help you with socialization.
Mm-hmm.
I always advise people if they can to have someone because you could repeat the process and continue that progress, right?
Yeah.
But not everybody has that.
Mm-hmm.
Is when we socialize, we do use like our own, like I'll use like dogs that I've trained. Like for example, if you came and then I had Willow, I'd bring out Willow to help us socialize, right? Because I look at it as Willow's also reactive, so it's like we're benefiting two ways. So I try to use other clients' dogs, but then we use muzzles, okay? Because then if something happened, obviously there's liability stuff,
Right.
And the last thing I want is a client going, "Why did you introduce my dog?"
Totally.
And, like, did not take precautions, right? So then muzzle conditioning would come into play. Is she muzzle conditioned at all?
She has been. We haven't used it in a while.
Okay.
I mean, it was mainly I got one. I conditioned her with it when I took her to downtown. They were like, they kind of took away the muzzle. They're like, it's not going to stop the aggressive behavior. It's just kind of that barrier. I would, in the times I have slowly introduced her to, at a very, still not even a full approach, but at safe distance, I always brought her muzzle with her. It just hasn't been consistent, I guess what I'm saying.
So
but we have one, yes.
Good. So we would use it during the socialization because we will go into sniffing.
Yeah.
We will press.
Yes,
okay?
I've seen those videos with Willow,
Yes. So the difference is, and then Willow, by the way, is up there in terms of difficulty.
Yeah, Riley sends me the videos, and I'm like, wow, she's on that double prong collar or double e-collar status at times.
But she made a lot, because it was really interesting with Willow because I'm the one that kind of interacts with her the least. And then one day she just flipped and was like, "I hate you." And I was like, "Hey Riley, like I don't know why." That actually threw me. Like very rarely am I caught off guard,
right?
You know, with these things. And obviously Riley's like very on top of things. So he's like, "I want to do a board and train to address this issue, whatever."
Yeah.
And then I made a lot of progress with her because I had to do the double collar, and then she finally got it, and then she just started to open up to me, like show me her wiggly side, which hadn't happened before.
Yeah.
But it's because I pressed her, and obviously with the application of a muzzle, what have you,
Yeah.
right? So the muzzle allows us to press. It's interesting that they said to remove it. I mean, I understand if you're not going to press socialization, right? Like sniffing and stuff, and it's just like we're doing things at proximity.
Yeah.
But I'm like, but if you're going to press socialization, like it's gonna be close quarters. And
Yeah.
the muzzle is a necessity in those kind of instances. So yeah, I can help you with that.
Okay.
You know, and then like I have dogs that we can use. You know, so that's not a problem either. All right. Anything else that so we have the reactivity towards your dad or family members. We have obviously dog reactivity. We have socialization. Anything else that you think you need to cover?
I don't think so. What I do wanted to bring up as like an update though is I filled out the consultation form. There is a medical condition I potentially have to update with her. She has been having like bladder infection issues. We're actually getting word in the next few days. She had a biopsy done.
Okay.
We're unsure at this point if she has more of an autoimmune disease or if she does have cancer.
Yeah.
It's tough to say at this point. We took her to Purdue. They were like, it's not what we typically see. We also don't want to give you like a bunch of false hope.
Yeah.
But yeah, she just has an interesting case where it doesn't necessarily look like cancer, but this whole bladder lining is inflamed, and we're just getting results done and hearing back from that.
I gotcha. Sure.
So TBD there. But yeah, that I submitted the form. I scheduled with one of the people at Canine Perspective, and then like 3 days later, I got that phone call, and I was like, oh my God. Yeah.
So definitely, I'd advise getting that taken care of first.
Yes, absolutely.
Just takes off a load from you.
Yes.
And then in regards to like, I've trained dogs with multitude of like health issues. I've only ever had one dog where I was like, yeah, I'm really not sure if this is gonna work because the dog would have seizures, and from what they could determine, they were triggered by stress. And I told them, yeah, e-collar is a stressor.
Yeah.
So I would anticipate that we're going to see an escalation in seizures. I was thinking there's a possibility that once the dog learns to better handle stress, that would drop. But I was like, this is the first time this has ever happened. I can't say that for sure, this and that. They ended up not doing the training, but that's the only time I told someone like, we can't do collar here. Or not that we couldn't, but that we would expect to see like an increase of like problems because they were stress related. I've had dogs with heart murmurs. I've also had dogs in the past with cancer.
Yeah.
multitude of health issues, never an issue because it's just a muscle contraction. I've even had dogs with like collapsed tracheas and stuff.
Okay.
Completely fine.
Okay.
Okay. Because it's just a muscle stimulator.
Yeah.
That's all it is. So what I would advise, once everything's taken care of with her, I'd most likely put you at about 9 classes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So and this is my general layout. Okay. We have to redo heel, revisit heel. That typically takes 2 classes. Okay. I would redo recall. I would do place, which is stationary control. Just those 3. Okay. Those are the 3 obedience commands that I care about. Walk with me, come to me, don't move. Okay. Just for the foundation of reconditioning stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we go into socialization, the reactivity towards people entering, kind of territorial, nervous surprise.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. So if let's say the obedience takes 4 classes, that leaves us roughly 5 classes to tackle the behavioral stuff.
Okay.
Obedience, I can always say with confidence, as long as the owner's going to do the homework, I can get it done with this time frame because it's just obedience. As long as the owner does its homework, does their homework, easy peasy. Behavior is nuanced. Okay. I've had some cases where I'm like, yeah, this will be easy peasy, and it's super difficult. And I've had some that I'm like, this will be super difficult, and it's easy peasy. And I'm like, I can never really predict.
Yeah.
So, but there would be correcting reactivity, right? Being able to walk her in peace, not having to worry about is she going to blow up at the golden doodle or the doodle or the golden retriever, right? Get that done. That's always has to happen first before we do socialization.
Yes.
Okay. Once we get that done, and technically once we start heel, that would start addressing the reactivity. Okay. In case the reactivity, and by the way, when it comes to reactivity, pitties and healers.
And she has a little bit, I seen you do another consultation video with a guy and his healer, and same thing, nervous wreck, and you're like,
if it's who I think it
breed,
is,
it gives me
Wolfie,
trouble. Might be.
he was really bad.
Yeah.
Okay. I can show you like his video. Like when we did the introductions, it was really bad.
Yeah.
Okay. And then one day he came back. He's like, "Hey Jesse, guess what? I was at my parents' house and Wolfie was playing with their dog." He's like fucking.
That's insane.
I was like, "Dude, I'm like, good work," because where he started from, but and in some cases, and Willow's a good example, is it can look really bad.
Yeah.
And I tell people like, well, yeah, because we're pressing something that we've not pressed, and also it's hard to understand how this thing that's we deem as bad could help the dog. And I go, because dogs don't understand it that way.
Right.
They understand consequence.
Yeah.
And in some cases it has to be a very severe consequence.
Yeah.
So like I recently put up a video of a dog named Otto, who's a Bernese dog.
Okay.
Dog. We were here for the consult. I didn't film it because I ran late, and I wish I would have done it. But you can hear the train kind of subtly from this far. He was scared of the train from this far away.
Yeah.
And the lady's like, I can't walk this dog anywhere.
Yeah.
He won't pee or poop outside because he's scared of everything.
Yeah.
Okay? This is the first dog in 15 years who's on a double collar system because he just needs a double collar system.
Yeah.
For Willow, it was certain context.
Sure.
It was if I was going to press her aggression, I need the double collars.
Yeah.
Aside of that, she's on a singular collar. She's at 45. She's good.
Yeah.
Right? This is an extreme fear case.
Yeah.
And I even thought that we weren't going to be able to make that much progress. But I was like, I talked to the owner, got the thumbs up. I'm like, all right, I'm going to do what I want to do. And now we've been walking the dog every day since this past Monday under the train because our facility is located right in front of the green line.
Yeah.
And it was a rough couple of days, but now the dog will just walk and no longer is just panicking all over the place.
Freaking out.
Because I matched the intensity of the fear. And now the dog's like, okay, now there's something worse than the train, and that actually helps the dog hold.
Yeah.
So, and because my client earlier asked me the same thing, because they have an aggression case, and they end up having to do a really harsh correction, and they did it twice, and like ever since those 2 corrections, like the dog's been really good.
Yeah.
I go, yes, because now the dog understands there is a very harsh consequence, and now that's what deters the behavior, right? That's not every case.
Okay.
Most cases are pretty straightforward, but I always present the owner with worst case scenario.
Sure.
Because I don't want to paint it as, oh, it's going to be very smooth sailing.
Right.
And if it goes south, they're like, what the hell, right?
Yeah.
You lied to us. But if I paint it worst case scenario and they go like, okay, like I trust Jesse and I'm gonna just move forward with it. If we end up in worst case scenario, the owner's already like, okay, like Jesse said that we might be here and he must know what he's talking about because here we are.
Yeah.
You know? So I don't know. I can't predict how that stuff's gonna play out.
Sure.
That's all stuff that we figure out in
Right.
real time. But that's where like the muzzle stuff comes into play.
Yeah.
Okay. So 1 would be on reactivity, so it brings it as 5. 6 would be how to introduce to a singular dog, right? That'd be 7. 8 could be if she's doing really well, we can try to do slow group, okay. At my facility. And then the 9th one would be like the reactivity towards like people entering and stuff. That one's a bit different because you said she did it with your boyfriend in the beginning, but that's happening less and less.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very, very rarely does it happen. Now, I think the first time it really happened, and thinking about the situation, it makes sense why we were moving in together, and the stress of moving was intense for her. So I think she was unsettled. He was kind of coming around the corner of our island where she was underneath my feet. She saw his feet and she took a nip at him. It hasn't happened,
How long have you guys
since
been
then.
together?
We've been
Or, like, moved
living
in together?
together. Yeah, it'll be 2 years in kind of the beginning of next year.
When's the last time she's been reactive to him?
Well, last time she was reactive towards him, this was maybe like a couple months ago.
Okay.
What ended up happening, she didn't have her prong collar on. He had her on just her regular purple collar and leash there. It was just a quick potty break. We have an elevator in our building. He was walking to go into an elevator. We have a new tenant moved upstairs who have their dog, a golden doodle. They do not like each other.
Okay.
But they met head on accident.
Oh.
She freaked out. He couldn't get her to calm down, so he tried grabbing her, and she nipped him right here.
So that
hasn't
would be
happened.
completely separate than like him walking into a room.
Right.
That's what we call a redirect.
Yeah.
It's all that frustration has to go somewhere, and
Right.
unfortunately, he made the wrong decision of.
Yeah,
her
just
up.
didn't know what to do in the
It happens,
situation. Yeah.
You know, so that I actually don't even factor.
Yeah.
So like, when would be the last time that she's reacted to him like entering into the space?
It might have been honestly only that one time.
Okay.
And again, like, I don't know if it was like something at my parents' house with my mom present, or if it was just solely my dad, or because like the living room was like a little more darker lit, like just, I don't know. But for some reason it was like always my dad. I have one friend, one of my best friends is also a very animated, big energy person. And when she would get all animated, not necessarily coming into the room, but when she would
Just in
get
general.
animated, she would at times almost like try to like nip her at the ankles or try to get her to calm down.
So she's
But
moderated.
they've met so many times now that she's comfortable around her.
Yeah, all that makes sense to me. So if you wanted, like, you could do 12.
Okay.
What that does, it just gives us a bigger window to cover more behaviors, because the human stuff we can only do so much unless we can recreate.
Yeah.
Right. Dogs are easy because we can do socialization. If you don't have a dog, I have dogs, no problem. We can recreate that, right, at my facility. But for the human stuff, I can show you how we would address it.
Yeah.
And then obviously understanding the triggers and like what makes me a really good trainer is I can a lot of times foresee the problem. So I go, okay, if I'm not ready to address the problem yet because I'm too early in the training, well, I'm going to work around it this way.
Okay.
Right. Or if I can predict it, then I go, okay, I'm already ready because I know it's going to happen. Right. So once you have that ability, like you just have that foresight, like it makes a huge difference.
Yes.
Where it's like you're 2 steps ahead of the dog.
Yeah.
Dogs are very predictable once you understand dog stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you did 12, it gives us just more time to work on like the human stuff. Let's say we end up coming to class 10 or something and you're like very happy and you're just like, Jesse, I've learned all I can learn.
Okay.
I have 2 classes, right? You can convert them to credit.
Okay.
I think Riley actually did that because first he did an in-person program. We used some and I gave him the clear. I'm like, you're good. You can come whenever, right?
Yeah.
And then he had a boarding stay. I'm positive he used like 2 classes. We applied it. But
Yeah.
then the thing happened between Willow and towards
Yeah.
me. And then he was like, I'll just put her in for a boot
Yeah.
camp or
I know
whatever.
he traveled at that time
Yes,
too.
yes, he was
went
gone for, like, 10 days or
went-
something.
did like a Europe trip. So
Yeah. So you know, the money's not going to be wasted. It's not like, okay, you're only tied to using it for training.
Sure.
You know, I hate seeing things there, like credit there. I'm like, please use the credit.
Yeah.
So that's always a possibility too. The longer the program, the cheaper it is per class as well. So if you look at the price breakdown, The shorter ones are going to be a little bit more expensive, but then the longer it is, it gets cheaper and cheaper. So what we would end up doing is we would just prorate it. So if you did have 2 classes left over, we would just prorate it, divide it, whatever.
Okay.
This is the credit you have, and if you ever needed to board her or something, you're welcome to use it towards boarding. We also have retail and stuff like that too if you want to use it towards food or anything
Okay.
like that.
Cool.
So it's not going to go to waste. So you could look at it that way, or you could do the 9. We don't prorate programs. So if you did do 9 and then decided like, you know what, I want another 3, you would pay the cost of 3.
Okay.
So ultimately it would add up to more.
Yeah.
Okay. It's mainly because it helps keep booking my calendar a little bit more straightforward, knowing like, okay, you're going to want 12. When we do longer programs, towards the end, things get spaced out.
Okay.
So if you did 9, I might expect around class 7 or so, I might tell you like, take a few weeks to practice this stuff. Socialize with some dogs, right? And then come back for class 8, right?
Okay.
And then we cover more ground. Okay, now go and rinse and repeat that. And then come back when you're ready for class 9.
Okay.
Behavior takes time.
Yeah.
Obedience is pretty straightforward.
Yep.
If I'm doing more advanced obedience, like off-leash stuff, same thing for them, I'll tell them towards the end, we're going to space things out because you need time to go to the park and practice all your off-leash stuff. And then you come back when you're ready. And sometimes I don't see people for, months. I've even had clients that'll wrap up in the fall and then they'll see me back in the spring, summer of the following year. And then they just take the time in the fall, winter to practice, Completely fine. We just ask that, of course, people let us know what they want to do so we can plan my calendar accordingly.
Okay. That sounds good.
But
and
9 is the minimum I'd suggest. And if you want to do more, you're welcome to do 12. And
I think we'd be interested in the 12, just with the behavior stuff taking more time. I had one question on, just seeing on your website, should we, working with you, move forward with the e-collar we already have? Or I know you're very,
Yes. So,
and what's the reason? Just curious from your standpoint.
I used to use e-collar technologies at the beginning of my career.
Okay.
It's a very good collar. They have the best customer service, hands down. Okay. The issue that I had is when I first started training dogs in Chicago, I don't know if it's because I have a pit, but I got a flood of dog-aggressive, dog-reactive pits were my first clients, okay? And I was using e-collar technologies. I could order over the phone, and they would direct ship it or drop ship it to my client overnight.
Oh, wow.
I didn't have to invest in inventory. Dogtra, I had to buy $10,000 of inventory.
Oh, wow.
Okay, to be a seller.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm broke. I'm just starting my business. I'm not going to do that, right? So I had these 3 dogs in particular that were all on the Boss, which is the high-powered version of the Educator, right? And they were all getting worse. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on here because I had other cases that were doing just fine. But these were all severe cases. So then I was like, you know what? I went and bought the high-powered model for Doctra out of pocket. And I go, we're going to experiment. And we're going to swap out your collars with these collars. They're equal. They're just different brands. Okay. We started making progress.
Okay.
My theory is if you feel them side by side, the e-collar technologies is a sharper sensation where Doctra is duller. Okay. So ever since that, I just changed and never looked back. Okay. And I would just tell clients at the time, I sell Doctra now. Because I've been doing this for so long.
Right.
But in the beginning, I would tell clients just buy it off of Doctra, like so I didn't have to do the inventory or whatever. But I've never looked back. I was actually taught on Doctra, but again, it was more so the convenience of I can buy one collar and you would overnight it. Plus my margin for profit was greater, But ever since those behavior cases happened,
I mean, there's a lot of e-collars out there, so I was just curious.
Yes, those 2 brands are definitely the best. Every now and then, I'll get an easy dog, and they already have the collar. And I'm like, sure, like I'll let it slide here because this dog is so easy. I'm not worried about it. But anytime there's aggression or behavior, I'll tell the client like you want to just upgrade. Okay. Other questions?
I think that is all the questions.
So take your time. Obviously we have the health stuff that's going on, right? If you have any questions in the meantime, feel free to reach out. If they pertain to me, Tina will email me and I'll email her back or what have you. There's no rush. Chances are, if there's a little bit of a wait, I'd be training at my facility by that point. Because I'm only here for so long. As you can tell, it's fairly
Would the 9, 12 classes be here or would be at your facility?
Depending on when you start. So like right now, you see how it's kind of brisker today?
Yeah.
When you're here for 8 hours, like I'm already feeling the cold right now.
But,
as I start to move at my facility.
Okay.
Now, it doesn't impact your progress. People are always worried about that. What's nice about being here is that we would get the distraction, but as it gets colder, there is no
unplanned
distraction.
Things,
People aren't here anymore. but it doesn't matter at my facility. The way that I teach is I teach you in a way that you would transfer what you've learned to the real world.
Right.
Okay. Worst comes to worst, I go, okay, bring your dog, and I'm going to bring a dog out, and we're going to see if we can force the reactivity. And then we have a controlled context where we can push the problem. Okay. So it's just people just like training in a realistic environment. Like that's what they get from it. But in terms of progress, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else?
I think that's everything.
Okay. Last thing is, you see how she settled a bit more, obviously anxious, but she's been laying down for about 20 minutes.
Yeah, I noticed she wasn't shaking at one point. She just had her head down.
Head down, yes. So the more I'd have her and had my influence I'd have a greater influence over her, a lot of the stuff would just go away just because of how I am as a dog trainer, how I use a leash and how I communicate, which is partially like what I teach my clients. But this is just pointing out from earlier when she was kind of unsettled, right? From when I took her and just a little bit of feedback, and then was able to create as much relaxation as we could, within the hour. So, okay.
Yeah, like that. Thank
Awesome.
you.
I'll grab your mic before you go.
Okay.
It was a pleasure meeting you.
Yes, Jesse, really nice to meet you finally.
Again, if you need anything else, you let us know. I hope this is nothing serious in terms of health and stuff. I hope it's something easy.
I hope so too. Yeah, I look forward to picking up on training with you.
Yeah. And how old is she?
That's a great question. She is